maybe send a care package over to them. Support the troops. So we are here with an awesome comedian, Miss Caroline Picard. Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you, sir.
And we're so thank you for. I know you came down early to do this, and so I really appreciate it. I just want to, I'm always enthused by having comedians on. You're actually the first comedian we've ever had on, so I'm excited for you kicking down that wall for us. Tell us what made you decide to be a comedian professionally.
I've been asked that question over the last 20 years. I don't know how many times. And I'll answer it for you honestly. Normally I tell people an angel of the Lord came down and no. I was in corporate America for 25 years. I was in the oil and gas industry and it was changing. The guys I worked for were retiring and the new generation coming in, we just didn't get along. Mm-hmm. Completely different. The guys I worked for came up through the oil industry, working on rigs, putting themselves through college, and these new guys coming in were straight out of college. They didn't know anything. It was time for me to leave. It was time for me to go do something else. And I just said, why not? And people had always said I have a natural timing. I was very funny. So I went and tried it. And trust me, the first time on stage was not a miracle of God. I can tell you that right now. And it was ugly, is what it was.
You have it on tape?
No.
Good, rightfully so?
No, there's a lot of things I have on tape, and as soon as my name gets big, I'm burning them.
Tell me some of your comedian role models.
Oh, well, for me, it's old school. Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Joan Rivers, Phyllis, all these guys, that I grew up watching when I was a kid. I saw Pryor on Ed Sullivan in 1969 in a suit. Same thing with Carlin. So, and I know in Texas, the almighty God is Bill Hicks, but I'm a little older than most comics. I go past that, But I like Hicks. I prefer Kennison. Mm-hmm. But for me, I just watching these guys and never thinking I was going to do it. That wasn't a big dream of mine. But now that I'm in it, there's no getting out.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing this?
20 years, as of August 19th.
Wow. So you're wow, that is a long time. Any regrets?
None whatsoever. I didn't get into stand-up to become a movie star. I didn't get into stand-up to become a sitcom star. I got into stand-up to become a stand-up star. I love stand-up comedy, and everybody said, well, don't you want a sitcom? Well, why? You have to work 12 hours a day. I work an hour. Mm-hmm. And people don't know the behind the scenes that go on in a sitcom or whatever. It's you have to write, you have to be there, you have to, everybody sees the half hour that's on the TV, but they don't see what it takes to get it to that point. And that's a lot of work. And I haven't done a lot of work in 20 years.
There you go. Do you ever tell a joke and you think it's too far? Have you ever told a joke and you're like,
Oh, of course, everybody does. And then you rewrite it and take it further.
I'm going to name some comedians. You tell me if it's a yeah or tell me if you like them or you don't. Seinfeld.
Not my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. Good comic. Good, he's been in the business a long, long time, but his stand-up is just not my style.
Leno.
Again, it's too clerical. It's too whitish, too clean. Yeah. And I like Jay. I think he's funny, but I wouldn't pay to see him.
Yeah. What about Joy Behar?
If I ever meet that woman, it's going to get ugly fast.
You don't like her?
I don't like her at all. I don't think she's a good human being. She's a good comic.
Elaborate on it, if you wouldn't mind.
She's very condescending, and I think that's because of the fact she was an English teacher. Mm-hmm. She just won't give you a break. And I don't like that. I think I've never seen her stand up, but just what I get from her body language on The View, I don't care for. I don't think she's a good person. Period.
What about Rosie O'Donnell?
Rosie's a great comic. Rosie's a great comic, and she's very opinionated, and she'll stand by it. I don't like all of her opinions, but she stands on them.
What about Whoopi Goldberg?
There you go. Now that's the lady of comedy. Whoopi is a professional all the way through, stands her ground, knows what she is, knows who she is, and that's one woman who probably I wouldn't say a whole lot in front of. I'd just bow and say, her and Bill Cosby are two people I'd be like, I ain't saying nothing. I'm done. You go ahead and talk.
Yeah. What about Kathy Griffin?
I like Kathy. I think she's a real person. I think a lot of her stand-up, I think people give her a hard time. And she's made a living out of taking that hard time and turning it into who she is.
I was going to say Joan Rivers, but you already said that you...
Yeah, Joan Rivers, Phyllis Diller, Toadie Fields. These were some of the women that broke ground for some of us in comedy, as far as women in comedy. Ellen DeGeneres, I think she's a great comic. There's a lot of these ladies that open doors, and you walk through them. They're not going to help you. They'll just open the door.
Definitely.
It's up to you to do what you got to do.
Well, I'm going to get your opinion on some hot topics. What would be Caroline Picard's solution or opinion on the debt crisis that we were just facing?
Hire an accountant, for God's sakes. Why are you going to Congress and the House when they're made up of lawyers? People who have never run a business, people who, the super committee, for me, nobody from Congress would be in it. No politician. I would put business leaders across the board, and in every community, from the white community, the black community, the Latino community, the Asian community, people who have been successful in running a business and know how to create jobs.
Definitely.
Getting a bunch of politicians patting each other. It's these guys fight in front of us, and then off camera go drink at the same bar. And you're not going to believe me. They don't make me believe they don't. It's to me, get some accountants. Can we get a CPA? Somebody who knows numbers? Anybody?
What about Sarah Palin?
She's young. She's got a lot of growing to do.
You think she'll run?
Not this time. I don't think she should.
Think eventually she will?
Eventually, but I think she needs to put at least 10 years under her belt in politics and learning more than what she does. I think she's a strong woman, but I think she's very young in the political game.
What about Rick Perry? What do you think about his entrance into
He's going to surprise people.
Think he's going to win the nomination?
I think he's got a good shot at it.
If not him, then who?
I don't know. To be honest with you. It ain't going to be Michelle Bachmann, I can tell you that. I just want her to shut up.
As a comedian, when George Bush gave comedians so much material, they didn't even write it.
It was too easy for me with George.
You think it was too easy?
I had him as governor for 6 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it was too easy.
It's like cheap shots? You think?
Yeah, it was cheap shots. I didn't like everything President Bush did, but I think he stood his ground. Mm-hmm. And I think history will tell what kind of president he was. And the fact that he doesn't come out and condemn our president now shows a lot in America.
It does. It definitely does. What about social media? Do you tweet?
No, I don't tweet. I'm on tweet, but I'm
tweet.
there.
You're in tweet land?
I prefer talking to people. Mm-hmm. I come from that generation.
Do you think my generation has lost that?
Yes. Just in what I read in Facebook, by the way people spell. I can't read it. I'm like, read it.
Give me an example.
It's just they combine words. It's not please, it's PLS. It's not you, it's you. It's not two, it's two.
Yeah.
It's like, hello, can you put a sentence together? Really?
Yeah, education. It's social media is having its big impact. What do you think about Facebook being worth $50 billion?
I think I was a genius. It's kind of like Larry saying "get her done." I'm sorry, I didn't come up with it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I'm sorry about. It gets annoying after a while, but Facebook is good. I just think people need to walk away from it every once in a while. I use it basically to let people know where I'm playing.
Definitely.
And to put out my opinions or whatever on certain things. And I even hold off on that because people who come back and comment, they tend to get real stupid. And it'll start a war. And it's like, they're keyboard warriors. Okay? They'd never tell you this to your face.
Exactly.
Okay?
Agreed.
They're keyboard warriors. It's like being a weekend, yeah, I shoot a gun on the weekends for the National Guard, but you'd never go to Iraq.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I agreed with that.